Hello everyone, my name is Natalie Schlute. I am your psychic success coach and I'm here to help you manifest everything that you desire in this lifetime. This specific episode is all about how to attract your soulmate, and specifically your twin flame soulmate, which is a really exciting subject. If you've checked out the last couple episodes that I've created, I've given you some really deep definitions of an overview of what soulmates are, what a twin flame soulmate experience really is like. And now we're going to dive deep into how to be your best self so that you can attract that twin flame soulmate. So we're going to start with just some quick definitions and overview of what soulmates are, what twin flame soulmates are. We'll talk about what attracts your soulmate and then also what repels your soulmate so that you can start shifting and taking some actionable steps in your life right now to start manifesting that loving relationship that you truly desire to have. If you absolutely love everything to do with manifestation and intuitive development, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and then also hit that bell so that you get notified every time I have a new episode for you. So let's start with a quick review of what soulmates are. You are a soul, and a soulmate is a soul friend. So soulmates in general are just people that you reincarnate with. They could be your friends, your family members, your loved ones, people that come in and out of your life. When it comes to some of those deeper connections, we also have what's called twin soulmates, and those are the friends that have been with you for a long time. Maybe they're in your life for a specific chapter. They could be lifelong friends, or they might be really close, deep friends that you've experienced for several years. They might be someone that helped you through a really big crisis or went through something really amazing together. So we also have these twin soulmates that are a little more tightly knit. Now, when most people say the word soulmate, they're actually talking about what's called a twin flame soulmate. And that is the person that feels like your other half. That's the romantic relationship that we see on the big Hollywood screen where there's sparkles and lights the moment they meet and they just have this super deep connection. It is possible for anyone who desires it to draw in their twin flame soulmate, that person that feels like their other half. It's not literally their other half. We are whole and complete on our own, but it is a really beautiful experience to have a person that you go through life with, where your souls are deeply connected. You've reincarnated multiple lifetimes together and you're both up leveling on a soul level side by side throughout your lifetime. I've been lucky enough to find my twin flame soulmate. My husband is absolutely amazing. I love him with all my heart. Even after 5 years of marriage, there's still this sparkle when we see each other every single day. There's just a deeper connection that I almost have no words for. Often when you meet your twin flame soulmate, which I talked about in the last episode, there's this spark, there's this glow, this deep connection, this deep knowing. I literally had my angels, like this sound of music, and there was this light about him that I just could not even put into words what it really felt like. It was almost like someone knocked me over the moment I saw him, and it was this instant knowing of, oh my gosh, I have to get to know this person. And he felt the same way about me. So I understand not everyone experiences that in every lifetime. And what most people experience, the far majority of people actually experience what's called serial monogamy. That's when you have one long-term relationship after another. Each relationship is meant to help you grow, to learn, to have different experiences. And that's actually the most common thing. So it's okay. It's beautiful. If that's where you're at, great. What we're here to talk about today is how to get more in alignment with your own higher self so that you can actually attract that twin flame soulmate. It is possible for you to draw in someone in this lifetime that you were so deeply connected to, that you've had many other lifetimes with. And a big part of that journey is going to be the inner work. When we start putting the focus on elevating our own vibration and who we are, then we are actually a magnet for drawing in someone that is also on a high soul level vibration. And that is going to be someone who is much closer to your twin flame relationship that you're actually looking for. So what attracts your twin flame soulmate? When it comes to the law of attraction, it is a rule that governs everything in the universe. It's happening every moment of every day. It is always working through you. We cannot turn it off. So it's just a matter of fact. It's a fact of life that we are a magnet to whatever we are. The way you show up vibrationally, with your energy, with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your beliefs, with your identity, who you are and how you show up is what draws everything into your current lifetime. And so when we're looking to draw in this higher level relationship, a relationship that is loving, that is kind, where it's that other half, right? That feeling of having someone there for us. You must first create that feeling within yourself. If it is something you want to experience, you must feel it vibrationally first, meaning it's going to take some inner work. It's about learning to heal yourself first so that you can draw in someone at a higher level. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, I've got to fix everything inside of me before I can reach that point where someone's going to come into my life that's a really loving twin flame soulmate relationship. That's not really how it works. It's more about stepping into the best version of you now and every day getting better and better. Every day improving yourself. Every day having more self-love. Every day having more compassion for yourself and others. Every single day stepping into a world where you are less judgmental of other people and of yourself, where you're letting go of some of your perfectionism. You're seeing the world in colors instead of black and white, right and wrong. Not everything is always going to be perfect. And when we have all these rigid rules or we're holding back in a lot of different ways, we can only receive what we're able to based on how we're showing up. So a big part of being a magnet for that person that you want to draw into your life is by figuring out, how would I feel if I had my soulmate? How would I feel if they were here right now? Who do I need to become in order to attract my soulmate? And so I'm going to tell you a quick little story. I, in my earlier years, had some really heavy relationships, like some long-term relationships when I was in my teens, in my early 20s, and I got hurt very badly. There was so much pain. And I was in a state in my early 20s where I just said, it was too hard being hurt and I didn't want to let anyone in. So I spent probably about 7 years where I consciously made a choice. I am not going to get hurt again. I'm not going to let anyone in. And I just had kind of fun, light relationships. But I specifically did not choose anyone to really bring into my life that was going to be a long-term relationship. I was very, very guarded. And this was something I consciously chose. But also understand that many people do this on an unconscious level. They're not aware that they're doing this, but they are holding back in a lot of ways. And so for me, I finally got to a point, probably in my mid-20s, where I decided, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to be in a relationship. I think I'm ready to draw in like a real long-term relationship. I think I'm okay. I'm going to let it in, even though it's going to be painful. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to do the work and try to draw in some romance, try to find my twin flame soulmate. And what I did was I started by just writing down who would be my dream man, who would be my perfect person, what would that relationship look like? And I had this long list of, what their lifestyle would be like, their interests, the things that we would do together, and how I would feel in that relationship. And I got a really clear picture of the type of person that I wanted to bring into my life, someone that I felt would be a really good match for me. And then what I did was I decided that I was going to look at this and be like, who do I need to be? How do I need to show up to be the other half of that relationship? Because if I'm going to draw in this beautiful picture of this person that I just, jotted down, of this idea of who I wanted to be with, if I'm going to be the person to attract that person, what would I look like in that relationship? And so I had to start doing some inner work. The funny thing was, I actually met my husband 3 months after writing out that piece of paper, writing out that dream list. Now, it still took a couple years before we actually started dating and things moved on from there. But getting really clear on what you want, what your values are. It was very important to me to have someone who was open and that was going to be able to communicate. I needed someone that was also very spiritual, someone that was healthy and liked traveling and doing the things that I enjoy doing. So as you get clear and then you figure out who you need to be to show up for that relationship, then you start to step into the role of the greater version of yourself. And that's really what this is all about. So the big key here is stepping into the version of yourself that already has that relationship, and then let it go. After I wrote that list, I didn't go actively try to find that person I just let it go. I just set the intention, and then I stepped into the version of me that I knew I needed to become in order to be in a happy, healthy, loving, long-term relationship. And so at that point, then it just became me doing the inner work. I just trusted that my man was out there. I trusted that it was going to come to me. I got clarity on what I wanted, and then I started doing me. I started doing my own inner work and showing up as my best self and evolving. And that's really how you attract your twin flame soulmate. So now we need to talk about what repels twin flame soulmates. The things that are going to keep you apart from experiencing that really wonderful, loving, deep connected relationship. One is neediness. When you feel like you have to have that soulmate relationship, that deep connection in order to feel whole and complete, that actually repels the higher level deep relationships that you're looking for. Because neediness is it's a very grabby kind of energy. When you choose instead to feel whole and complete on your own, then you find your other half. Then you find the other person who is also going to be side by side with you, feeling whole and complete. That's when things really start coming together. So do the inner work to figure out why you feel needy, why you feel like you have to have that other person. What's going to end up happening is when you're in a needy state, you're going to find a relationship, but you're going to find someone who fills that hole within you, but not necessarily someone that is going to be the best match for you in the long run. So that's more of what's called a codependent relationship, where you're really depending on that person in order to fill a need. And not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not the end of the world if you're in a codependent relationship. Just be aware of that pattern and start to heal on your own, so that you can level up to the better, healthier relationship that you truly deserve. The second thing that repels relationships and these high-level twin flame soulmate relationships is fear. If you are afraid of getting hurt, if you've been hurt in the past, you're afraid to let people in, you're afraid to expose your vulnerability, and you're afraid to really show people who you are, you're going to be very guarded. And when we have these walls up and we're not truly expressing ourselves, it makes it harder for our soulmate to see who we really are and to be aware that, hey, this is my match, and then find that relationship. So the more you can be open, loving, accepting, the more transparent you are, the more open you are to allowing yourself to experience some pain in the future. Because I'm here to tell you, every relationship is going to have some pain. Life is going to have some pain. That's just part of being human, right? We have challenges, and some of those challenges are going to come inside your relationships, and that's okay. If you're willing to go through the hard stuff, then you are opening yourself up to experiencing the great stuff as well, because every relationship is going to be challenging. There's going to be some hurt. There's going to be some misunderstandings. There's going to be some arguments, even when you're in a twin flame soulmate relationship. Like, that's just part of relationships. And when you understand and accept that that's just part of relationships, then it's not so scary. You will survive, you will move forward. Just know that this type of conflict does not include physical abuse or extreme verbal abuse. Like, none of that is okay. And if you're in those kind of relationships, just know it's okay to leave. It's not okay to stay in those type of relationships. And a twin flame soulmate relationship is not going to have any kind of physical or verbal abuse. It's just not. That's not part of what a twin flame soulmate relationship is. It's a relationship where there is a deeper connection, where there is honor, there is respect for each other. There's an ability to connect deeper and have compassion for each other. So be very aware and very conscious if there is any kind of abuse, that is not the type of relationship you want to stay in, and I highly recommend you leave. What also repels your soulmate relationship is judging too quickly. When we have these unrealistic standards, when we're nitpicking someone apart, because most likely you're also doing that to yourself and you're doing that to a lot of other people in your life, that can also repel them. So be open and allow yourself to experience a lot of different personalities, because sometimes the first experience of someone is not always the deeper version of who their soul really is, and you might be missing out on some opportunities there. I also want to touch on improving your communication skills, because when we're unable to express ourselves, it's harder to have that deep connection with soulmate relationships. And so being really open to communicating and expressing yourself, even when it's difficult, is going to be a really big key in allowing yourself to have those deeper connections in your romantic relationships. And last but not least, I just wanted to touch on the difference between a true twin flame soulmate relationship and chemistry. Often when there's an initial meeting with someone that you end up being in some sort of relationship with romantically, chemistry is a little bit different than a soulmate relationship. So even if you felt like there was a big click, like there's a lot of attraction and fireworks when you first met someone, be very aware of looking at all the other signs of what that relationship looks like. So a true soulmate relationship is going to connect on a lot of different levels with a lifestyle, your habits, and the things that you really enjoy doing together. Your lives will kind of coincide side by side fairly smoothly. When it's just a chemistry, then maybe there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of excitement, but the lifestyles don't match as closely. You don't necessarily resonate on a soul level. You're maybe not doing inner work side by side. And by inner work, I mean working on your own mindset, working on your energy, taking care of your body and your life. If that's not happening side by side, it may not be a true twin flame soulmate relationship. I hope this video helped you, give you some tangible things that you can start doing, inner work, stepping up to becoming the person that you truly want to be so that you can really attract that twin flame soulmate relationship that you desire. You are so worthy and deserving of having everything that you desire in this lifetime. You already have what it takes inside of you. All you need to do is unleash that magic that you have. Let yourself be the true you without all of your walls up. Let it go. Let the universe draw in whatever is meant to be next for you. Learn and grow from every relationship, and I guarantee you will have more luck and more love and thrive a lot deeper in your relationships. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and then also hit that bell so that you get notified every time I have a new episode for you. And if you enjoyed this episode today, I think you will also enjoy these episodes over here. So be sure to check those out. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode.